and to ensure that the gas went from source to the end users, which is what all these gentlemen here obviously need. Now that in itself is no small feat, and I think that is what over the last 2.5 years or so we have been fighting very hard to put in place. In the first instance, the main backbone of pipeline infrastructure, which would be the critical OB3 pipeline, is finally off the bat, but it still needs a couple more phases in terms of development. We were lucky to just, in the last 3 weeks or so, access a $450 million euro bond to help us finish the current stage. And we're expecting that thereafter we will access the funding for the next stage. But in tandem with that, it is quite clear that even though you have the main backbone of the gas pipeline infrastructure, you must have the arterial pipelines that take the gas from the main tranche to the end users, without which it still does not actually hit the bat or hit home in the manner in which it should be, and it's not effective. So it is paramount, and that is what we are working on as we speak. It is paramount that we attract the requisite private investment in terms of these arterial pipelines that we need to take the gas to the actual end users. And I think that it's very similar to what Notore mentioned here when he talked about the connection to the Port Harcourt railway tranche. Those are the sort of things we are looking at this point in time. And I think that in order to do that, one of the key issues, as I pointed out earlier, is the bankability of the gas. As we speak, a small technical team from NNPC is working with a small team within the Ministry of Finance to try and ensure that once and for all, we thrash out the issue of bankability and come up with very clear solutions going forward for the bankability. Without the gas having that bankability, the gas pipeline infrastructure will not be an attractive investment. And so these are all areas that we're taking step by step. But I'm absolutely certain with the moves that have been made so far that in the very shortest possible time, the bankability will be thrashed out, and within this year we can move ahead with the investment rounds for those arterial pipelines.
Thank you very much. I was just reminded I got 5 minutes to wrap up the session. So I'll open up the floor for a couple of questions, and then we'll wrap up with the closing comments from the panelists. I see a hand up there. Yes, please. Yes.
Thank you. My name is Christine Kay from the Heinrich Böll Foundation, a German green political foundation. And my question goes to the Minister of Agriculture, please, although you're not on the panel. But I find it a bit surprising that we're spending all this time talking about chemical fertilizer without ever mentioning the possibility of organic. Organic is available, it's economical, and its carbon footprint is so much smaller than anything you've been talking about here. So are there any plans for this?
Let me make a comment on that. We certainly recognize that organic matter is vital in terms of making the inorganic fertilizer effective. There is no question to it. We recognize that, and this session is a discussion on the fertilizer production. It's not the session to discuss in terms of organic and inorganic. Both has to go hand in hand. Use as much of organic material that you have available with the inorganic to get the best effect. So it is vital to have both of them together to reach the potential, agronomic potential of the seed. Are there any other questions? There is a question at the back. Yes. Okay, I know the gentleman in the back. I'll come back to you. We'll open up for one more. Yes, please.
My name is Thomas Echu. I'm the chairman of TAC Agro Fertilizer. I've seen a lot of investment is being put in urea plants. And we're talking about 6 million tons of urea, which is, when we look at the total fertilizer requirement currently in the country or in the next, by 2020, we're looking at 4 million tons. And only 30% of urea is needed by the farmers. My question goes to the investors. What are you doing in terms of NPK plants, phosphate plants, to the farmers? If we're talking about 6 million tons, and we require only 1.2 million now by 2020, are we concentrating on export from this investment? And my second question is, as a blender, as a phosphate producer in the country, but very small quantity, I'm very glad Aliko is coming in to develop a phosphate plant. We only have a capacity of 100,000 of single superphosphates. Apart from Indorama that have able to reach, and Natori that have reached the two major NPK blending plants, which is Golden and TAC myself, we've not have any interface from the urea perspective that are going to produce. That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll take another question at the very back. You raised your hand, and that'll be the last question, and then we'll ask the panelists to come back and respond to it. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dozia Bajwe from the KDI Group, and my question is a sequel to what the lady that talked about organic fertilizer. The integration of Jatropha into the system, now my question is, what are we making any moves as regards biogas, biofuel? Because I mean the world market is actually shifting from the regulars. So what are we doing to integrate, like the Jatropha, the Jatropha seeds into making production of biogas through biodiesel or biogas refineries to integrate back into the system? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone in the panel would like to answer this question? The first one is, yeah, please, Mr. Mundra.
I'd like to answer the question about investment in urea only and not NPK talking. Two things. One is, of course, the requirement of urea is around 60% of the total fertilizer demand, not 30%. And second, we are investing in the NPK facility, as I mentioned. But we have to also look into another aspect. Here we are talking of comparative and competitive advantage of Nigeria. Nigeria has a competitive advantage globally as compared to global regions to be a world-class or world leader in manufacturing of nitrogenous fertilizer, urea. That's one aspect. Nigeria doesn't have that competence of being a world leader in NPK because P and K would have to be imported in Nigeria. So first thing is, where you have competitive advantage, you focus on that, produce that on a global scale, become leader, become regional hub, become the global hub. While the other part, the NPK, will automatically come, because once you are regional hub of urea, you automatically become the preferred choice for NPK hub. So it will come. Let's not talk everything at once, but let's talk first thing first, and then the second will follow. Similarly, agriculture, as I said in my answering to the question, it's important. Agriculture was there and it will continue to be there. But with investment in fertilizer, making availability of quality and cheap fertilizer